There's a psychological pattern called rumination that affects millions of women, and it might be draining the most intelligent, empathetic, and resilient women you know. Have you ever noticed that some of these incredible women are also the most tired? It's not just from their to-do lists. It's the exhaustion that comes from a mind that simply won't switch off, a mind that stays up late replaying conversations, solving problems that haven't happened yet, and picking apart social moments for hours. There's a deep psychological reason for this, a secret engine humming in the background. It's the very mental wiring that gives these women their incredible foresight and empathy, but it's also the force that quietly drains their energy, holds back their careers, and puts a strain on their closest relationships. Psychologists call this pattern maladaptive rumination. Put simply, it's a repetitive and passive focus on your own distress, what's causing it, and what might happen because of it. According to response styles theory, pioneered by psychologist Susan Nolan Hoeksema, women are more likely than men to get caught in this mental loop. Researchers use tools like the ruminative response scale to measure these thinking patterns in clinical studies. This isn't about being too sensitive. It's a cognitive habit, and it's one reason why women may experience depression at up to twice the rate of men. It's a pattern that can amplify distress, prolong bad moods, and keep you feeling completely stuck. So, why the gender difference? It's a perfect storm of social conditioning and biology. From a very young age, many girls are socialized to be the keepers of relationships. They're taught to anticipate what others need, to smooth over conflict, and to keep the peace. This essentially trains the brain to become a hypervigilant social scanner, constantly looking for tiny shifts in tone or body language. Overanalyzing everything can start to feel like a survival tool. This pressure to be nurturing, perfect, and to keep everyone happy can create a crushing weight of anxiety and negative self-talk. Then, biology pours fuel on the fire. Hormonal fluctuations can play a huge role. The natural shifts in estrogen and progesterone during a menstrual cycle, pregnancy, or menopause can disrupt the brain's mood-regulating chemistry, making it much harder to let go of negative thoughts. When progesterone breaks down into allopregnanolone, a compound that affects brain receptors, low levels can interfere with the brain's ability to stay calm and even trigger racing thoughts. These hormonal swings don't just happen in a vacuum. They can make the brain more vulnerable to anxiety and create the perfect fertile ground for rumination to take root. But it's critical to know that not all deep thinking is destructive. Psychologists actually split rumination into two types. First, there's reflective pondering. This is when you're genuinely trying to understand yourself or solve a problem. This kind of reflection often leads to insight and is a key part of the emotional intelligence and empathy many women have. It's a strength. The second type is brooding. This is the one that gets you into trouble. It's the hamster wheel, a passive dwelling on negative feelings without ever moving toward a solution. Brooding is what keeps you awake at 3 a.m., fixated on a mistake you made or a worry you can't shake. The danger is how easily a moment of healthy reflection can slide into brooding. You start by trying to figure a situation out, but before you know it, you're trapped in a downward spiral of self-criticism and hopelessness that only makes you feel worse. When brooding becomes chronic, the consequences ripple out into every corner of your life. In your relationships, it can feel like a constant state of anxiety. You might find yourself rereading text messages, searching for hidden meanings in your partner's tone, or living with a fear of being left behind. This mental loop makes it almost impossible to be emotionally present with the people you love. And at work, it's just as damaging. Rumination can drain your focus and cognitive resources, leaving you feeling mentally exhausted before the day has even really started. It can make you hesitant to take risks, dull your creative edge, and lead you to stay silent in meetings when you have something important to say. You end up feeling like an imposter, smiling through the day while your mind is spinning out internally. If any of this sounds painfully familiar, you found your solution. It's a sign that your mind is working incredibly hard to protect you, but its strategy is kicking you in the back. Breaking free isn't about forcing your brain to go blank. That's impossible. It's about changing your relationship with your thoughts. Therapies like acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, developed by psychologist Stephen Hayes, teach you how to practice cognitive diffusion, which is a fancy way of saying you learn to observe your thoughts instead of getting messed up in them. The goal is psychological flexibility, being able to see your thoughts for what they are and not getting consumed by them. You learn to say, my mind is telling me that worry story again, and see it for what it is. It's a story your mind has been telling you. This tendency to think so deeply is not a weakness. It's an overtrained mental muscle. That same tendency is linked to incredible strengths, like powerful empathy and social awareness. The goal is to learn how to redirect that amazing cognitive energy. Instead of letting it spin out into anxiety and self-doubt, you can channel it toward productive reflection and rest. It's about realizing that your mind's powerful engine doesn't have to run high all the time. By learning to gently shift gears, you can turn that exhausting mental noise into your greatest source of strength. On this channel, I break down women's psychology in a way that actually makes sense. No overcomplicated theories, no fluff. Just clear patterns, real-life examples, and practical ways to change what's not working. If that's your kind of content, subscribe and go straight to the next video. See you there.